See if I can do a quick Folk It rant podcast. It's been a week or so since my first one of season two, and there's so much going on in the world, it's difficult to even get a cohesive story together. And that's what I want to talk about today a little bit on this rant that I've got saved up. It's about stories and AI in particular. So I was sitting back, doing my normal job hunt stuff yesterday, maybe the day before, and I get a link to a Facebook reel. What do you know? Another Facebook reel. And this one was Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders in 2015 saying something that Bernie Sanders absolutely opposed in 2015, but it looked very real. There was a ton of views, tens of thousands of views, and a bunch of likes and comments on it. And then, just flipping through the reels after I clicked on this link, I start seeing more that look not right, not real. And I decided, all right, well, let me backtrack. Let me go look up what Bernie Sanders actually said. Maybe this thing is real. Maybe it's based on something. There's a backstory that I can find. It's related to immigration, I think, current topic, but I could find nothing about Bernie Sanders ever having this particular point of view about immigration. Nothing. In fact, I was right. He ran in 2015 on a campaign completely opposite to what this video had him saying. And it looked real, like it was really him saying this, and not true. Another Facebook fake. So then I look at the name on the account, and the name on the account basically says, I make fake AI videos. And I was like, huh, they're self-described making fake AI videos, posting this to the Facebook, and Facebook can't figure this out. I guess they don't care anymore or whatever, but seriously, it's like, hey, I make fake AI videos. Hashtags even said something like AI in it. Meanwhile, in the comments, it's nothing but people saying, yeah, that Bernie, I knew he was like this. Ha ha ha. He's then changed his mind. He's a flip-flopper now. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, man, did you guys read? First of all, it should have looked fake. Like, Bernie Sanders taking this point of view. That's weird. Let me investigate. So the curiosity to investigate was missing. It wouldn't have taken much curiosity because once I read the name, I was like, this thing, it's absolutely fake. Then I did a little Google and I'm like, Bernie in 2015 was running for office. There's a ton of videos and articles about what he actually thought about immigration. This is can't be true. This is ridiculous. Then I was flipping through right before I even did my investigation, assuming that it was fake. And started seeing more and more fake videos all over these Facebook reels. I spend a lot of time on Instagram, hardly any on Facebook, but my Instagram is like, I don't know if you can see my box raw hoodie. My Instagram is like me jumping rope, me shadowboxing, me fighting, me working out, me running sprints. It's entirely like I like to do the fitness stuff and stick to my fitness community. And then on my other personal account, I get some political things, but I do not get these ridiculous reels. And I don't want to. So I don't even want to run this experiment, but I think their their algorithm must be sensitive to this, right? Like if you look at one on Facebook, all of a sudden you start getting more. So they've tuned this now to be very sensitive to the algorithm. You watching something. Like it's adaptive, responsive, it moves fast. Okay, so I'm back, and my neighbor just bought me a cool book. Shout out to my neighbor for giving me the inspiration actually to fire this up before I go work out. Because I was telling you that the algorithm must be super sensitive, and these AI videos are getting promoted. Like once you fall into this rhythm of watching it and going to the next reel, you start seeing more and more and more. And I don't see it on Instagram because I'm super careful. I only want to see my, fitness stuff. Um, so that brings me back. I don't want to make this too long because I got working out to do. I'm getting fast, by the way. My sprint speeds remind me to tell everybody down the road. My sprint speeds are like going up, and I've really leaned out jump rope and sprints. But that's because I'm a person and not an AI robot. And the myth here is the story. It's more of a myth than it is a story. Like we talk about in looking for influence campaigns online, marketing campaigns, and propaganda. Talk about narratives a lot. Like, hey, there's a narrative out there that about immigration. There's a narrative out there about SNAP recipients and all these political issues that they're narratives, or in the case of fitness world, there's a narrative about seed oils or some health related topic about vaccines. They're narratives, they're narrative arcs. But I think of these things as stories because people tell stories and we share them online and offline in the gym and on Instagram. So stories spread and they're contagious and they morph a little bit, but they're central themes to our stories. And AI had people pushing them. OpenAI and Google and all of the early GPT groups, they were helped by an online push. This is my theory. I haven't really studied it, but this is my strong suspicion. They were helped by an online push that encouraged people to think about these GPTs, these transformer based LLM neural net language models that can produce realistic looking text. They were encouraged by online push that promoted the myth, this story that kind of piggybacked on what we see in television and science fiction and movies about what an AI really is. It carried um, already some meaning to people. Our brains already have these preconceived notions about what AI means and what it's going to be like. And we grew up or we are growing up in an era where we watch movies and we see robots and AI. So it piggybacked on that and got an online push to carry them forward because now it was an easier sell to, people in businesses, people in the defense sector, people in all kinds of government organizations that are interested in improving their services to their customers. Government has customers, Defense Department has customers, business that we work for, corporations, Fortune 500, they have customers. They're interested in pushing, hey, we're adopting AI. But AI didn't mean what it really is. It meant smart movie AI. It meant something that could do something like cure cancer or do some genomic, sequencing that was going to solve some incurable disease or solve some incurable math or figure out something that people couldn't do, like global warming or climate change, strategies we hadn't figured out. None of that is true. It was a myth. And that myth allowed people who were opportunistic, maybe OpenAI, to promote themselves as if they were going to solve these hard problems. You had to give them money. That's it. It's as simple as that. It was a story, a myth that piggybacked on preconceived ideas and stories that we already shared from science fiction and just fantasy, that we grew up with, that there is a capable technology that can produce a real artificial intelligence. And I say real, meaning an artificial intelligence that actually has some intelligence, which hasn't been shown approved. And that's not what we have at all. We've got this transformer based neural net thing that was originally designed to do language to language translation, really unsuitable for every other task except for even translation. I don't think it's that good at, but it's unsuitable for every other task other than generating fake videos for Facebook Reels or Reels or TikToks or whatever, and generating realistic looking text that can pollute our information environment. especially online information environments. We have seen this enshittification of the internet with fake images, fake videos, and words by not real people that are meant to trigger emotions and anger and divisiveness. That's what AI really has been good at here, these large language models. Now, I mentioned it in the past. You can think of AI anytime somebody says that, just replace it with statistical model of your training data. Hey, AI, can AI cure cancer? Do I have a statistical model of my training data that can help me answer the cure for all cancers? No, no, I don't have that training data, first of all. If I did, a person could figure it out. The training data would show me patterns that a person could interpret and test. It's not going to cure cancer. It's not going to come up with some novel solution. It's a statistical representation of trading data over a certain set of features that are characteristic of that type of data. So I'm not going to replace radiologists either because I can't easily get a representative sample of all types of images, medical images that a radiologist would see across all different types of people. The, it's only a statistical model. It's not capable of doing what human brains can do. So is there a place for assisting people in things that are not magic AI like LLMs? Yes, absolutely. There's a place where a statistical model of your training data done carefully across a representative sample of all types of populations that you care about with the right feature set can help a person down the road make a good decision. It's hard to do. It's hard work. You got to roll up your sleeves. It does not involve creating one gigantic model to rule them all based off of Reddit data. And it absolutely should never be confused with science fiction AI, super intelligence, whatever you want to call it. Do not confuse that with what we really have, which can be useful, especially out, we're thinking about like data centers that people are dumping all this money into that are going to sit empty down the road when this bubble bursts. You don't need data centers to do statistical models. You need, smaller models that can fit on devices that are with you at all times, like your phone or your laptop. Or if you're, an organization, you might have people out in the field who are doing things like drone. Maybe you have some stuff on a drone. Maybe you have some dedicated hardware devices, out for your business. And you want small models that sit there and help you interpret data, like how many cars are going in and out of a parking lot. Regardless, the story that was pushed about science fiction AI elevated this economic bubble. When that story gets pulled, the whole thing falls because there is no path to super riches unless the super intelligent story actually holds. The amount of money that got put into giant data centers and theft of all of our online copyrighted data works and holdings, fending off these lawsuits is enormous. And it's tough for society to suspend belief and say, well, sure, run roughshod all over the internet, stealing everything you want because you're going to get super intelligence. It's not going to happen. When that story dies, everything dies. I think it's dying already, to tell you the truth. And people are adapting, looking for exit strategies. Um, so all this came up because I saw an article about Scott Galloway's point, which was a good one. I don't always agree with that person. They have their own podcast. It's a good one if, you just like entertainment and not hardcore tech. If you like hardcore tech, listen to me. But the point about Sam Altman and OpenAI being the linchpin, the keystone of this story about AI as superintelligence, I'm buying. They pushed it in a way. um, that elevated him and the company to this mythical place. Meta has a part in it as well, but Mark Zuckerberg wasn't the keystone. And like Sam Altman is the keystone to OpenAI, and OpenAI is the key to the entire story. Um, yeah, there's a part of this that's there's only a few key players. Like part of it that's Elon Musk and X has their own Grok and their push that they pulled back into, I think now X. There are only a few players. When the story dies and people lose faith that OpenAI or Meta or X or Google are actually capable, or Microsoft are actually capable of getting to super intelligence, it's all going to come crumbling down. And I think it's going to be soon. So this is just my guess. And soon is like, 2026, maybe we go into 26. It all just depends on the circumstances of loss of confidence in that story. So right now, I still see a lot of people think that it's good for helping developers. It's not really that good for helping developers. Maybe bad developers. Maybe it helps briefly create a throwaway prototype. Maybe there's some certain limited instances where Claude is, good enough that you can, you know, fire something up. But if you use it for anything substantial, you are not a professional programmer. Because to be a professional, you have to be able to fix something when it breaks. So that means you needed to have created a design that is in somebody's head and on paper someplace and in, like some kind of area where you can show a person the design, the necessary reasons why you chose the structure in the code that you chose to map to some requirement. And then when that requirement changes and you need to do something different, it doesn't take you, you don't have to revibe code the whole thing. This is the beauty of professional software development. There's more upfront work loading into understanding the problems in the requirement space than there is actual coding. And once you've loaded all those kind of understanding the problem space and the people and how to, how people talk and think about that are going to use your software, and you build the structure for it, then the updates are relatively easy and your life gets easier. Not if you vibe code it. It's the opposite. You slop some stuff together, you didn't understand it, you left it wide open security holes. And when it changes in the near future and somebody says, can you do something slightly different? Your answer is going to be no. I can't because I've vibe coded it like a dumb dumb. All right, I gotta go work out now. This is a good one. We'll come back to it again. Storytelling. Telling a story like I just did about Claude being bad at coding and the reason why. Storytelling created this economic bubble. It created this mania. AI as a mania. People have lost their minds talking to chatbots, like literally and figuratively. They bought into the idea that something out there is special and maybe we're close to super intelligence. Maybe we've created something. We didn't. It's not going to work out. We're not going to solve these super hard problems. All we can do is create garbage looking Facebook reels that pollute our information spaces. That's what we can do really well. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do, obviously, but what they do really well is pollute our brains, pollute our information spaces, make it harder to educate ourselves and our kids. Going to work out. Fuck it.